Welcome back, Mando.
Ho. Greetings, Bucketheads. Mavar Tagar. Welcome to our 344th zero-hour happy hour episode of Mandovision. I am your host, Nargai Tom, and thank you so much for checking out our small independent Star Wars podcast. We're so glad you're here. Reach out to us on the socials if you'd like, at Mando_Vision, Twitter/X, and Insta, Mandovision at Blue Sky, and of course you can email the show, mandovisiontom@gmail.com. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, and share this show with all the Mandalorians in your covert. All right, Bucketheads, we are here for another exciting installment in our Star Wars Rebels rewatch, and we are here to close out Season 3 of the show with the second part of Zero Hour. A big, epic closing to the season. We very much enjoyed Part 1 last week as Thrawn turned the tables on the Rebels by finding the location of Atollon and launching a blockade to prevent their escape. And now, Thrawn goes on the offensive to crush this Rebel cell that he thinks might be the entire Rebel fleet. But, TBD on that one. And our heroes have to rise to the occasion to survive this dangerous encounter with their new adversary. Lots in the air, lots of things to happen. Fulcrum still captured by the Empire. Will Ezra be able to recruit Sabine and the Mandalorians to his cause? So many things to answer in this episode, and I see no reason why we shouldn't get into it right now. All right, so let's go ahead and get these particulars out of the way. What do you say? This is Star Wars Rebels, Zero Hour, Part 2. Original air date, March 25th, 2017. Again, this is Season 3, Episode 22. Our plot this week, Hera and Kanan fight to keep the squadron alive while trapped on Atollon. Ezra seeks to break the blockade with help from an unlikely source. The episode is directed by Justin Ridge, written by Henry Gilroy, Matt Mishnevitz, and of course, Stephen Melching is our story editor on this one. Our primary cast for the episode this week. Taylor Gray is Ezra Bridger, Vanessa Marshall as Hera Syndulla, Freddie Prinze Jr. as Kanan Jarrus, Tia Sakar as Sabine Wren, Steve Blum as Zeb Aurelios, Dave Filoni's Chopper, David Oluwelo is Callus, Steven Stanton is AP5, Tom Baker is Bendu, Matthew Wood is, of course, the Death Troopers and the Stormtroopers, Kevin McKidd returns as Fen Rao, Michael Bell is General Dodonna, Mary Elizabeth McGlynn is Governor Price, Lars Mikkelsen is Grand Admiral Thrawn, D. Bradley Baker, Rex, Ratish Rajan is Tristan Wren, Shamila Devar as Ursa Wren, and Nathan Kress as Wedge Antilles. All right, Bucketheads, that's the basics. That's what we need to know. Let's go ahead. Let's get into the epic Season 3 finale of Star Wars Rebels. You know what that means. It's time. Strap on your buckets. Let's go.
Get out of here. We'll hold them off. You're going to have to relocate the covert. This is the way. This is the way.
So our heroes have retreated back to the surface of Atollon after the failed attempt to break the blockade of the Imperial forces against them. They are down one interdictor after Commander Sato sacrificed himself to give Ezra a chance to escape and get more help. Meanwhile, Rex and Zeb are attempting to kickstart a shield generator prototype that Sabine was working on before she left. Visually, once the shield generator kicks on, it seems to have a lot of familiarity to what the Gungans used in Episode 1 against the battle droids of the Trade Federation. But the visual style of the shield generator seems to be something of a precursor to what we will see the Rebels use at Echo Base during the Battle of Hoth and Empire Strikes Back. I can't confirm that, but that's what my eyeballs tell me when I look at these things. So, Zeb and Rex are able to get the shield ready to go. Hera is calling for Kanan to return to the base because he's just come back from his sort of failed conversation with the Bendu. But so he's outside the perimeter of the shield right now, and Hera wants him to return immediately. And then the orbital bombardment begins. Thrawn turns on all of his Star Destroyer's weapons and begins to blast the shield. And it's taking a big, big beating as the shield just absorbs all the shots that the Star Destroyer can throw at it. And it's not going well. The shield generator on the verge of collapse. But then Thrawn says, that's enough. They've had enough. And but everyone knows he's just softening them up. It's time for the ground assault. It's time for Thrawn to do what Thrawn does, which is be pretty awesome. And he's going to go down there. He's going to crush the rebellion, and he's going to try and do what Tarkin wanted. He's going to try and take the rebel leadership hostage. He has them where he wants them. There's nowhere else for them to go. Now, interestingly enough, then this is a peculiar choice, in my opinion. I don't know if this decision has ever really been examined in any depth. If it has, I'd love to hear more. But Thrawn is going to lead the ground assault himself. That's the first interesting choice. His second interesting choice is who he leaves command of the fleet to, which is Governor Pryce. Now, if you haven't read the Thrawn novels that sort of set up his time in the Rebel series and his relationship with Governor Pryce, Governor Pryce is there to sort of aid him in navigating the political waters of Coruscant. And in return for that, he's going to help her get the rebels off of Lothal. You know, it's a mutually agreeable partnership. But Governor Pryce, despite the fact that she wants to be, involved in the Imperial military things, is not an official Imperial officer within the Navy. She has no tactical knowledge, to my understanding, unless memory fails me on this, which is always possible. I think she has a general understanding of some tactics, but not the way that Thrawn does. Definitely not. So she's an interesting choice to kind of command the fleet while he is on the surface. And this will come back to bite them in the butt. Because of course it will. The show can't end here. The rebels can't be squashed. Not so fast, my friends. Meanwhile, in hyperspace, Ezra comes out above Crow's Nest and goes to House Wren to plead his case for aid from the Mandalorians from House Wren. We find out that the Mandalorians are in a full-blown civil war. All the houses that backed Gar Saxon and the Empire have turned on the Mandalorians who are opposed to being aligned with the Empire. And House Wren is squarely in the crossfires of said civil war. So they are initially reluctant to help, especially as they study the formations of the Star Destroyers above Atollon and realize that it's something of a fool's errand. It will be not... They view victory as fairly impossible. But Sabine has a plan, and she's going to go. And her mother has a nice little moment where she talks about the impossible odds and how for a long time she believed it was impossible that her daughter would return to the fold and come home again. Yet that has happened, and these rebels have made that happen. So she's saying there's a chance. And so she sends Sabine with some ships, not all ships, because House Wren has to be able to defend itself. The Mandalorians who are on their side of the Civil War have to defend themselves. And so they get some ships. And Fen Rao volunteers to be amongst the pilots leading the strike team. And their plan is to go and disable the interdictor so that the rebel fleet can make an escape. That's part of the plan. We cut back to Atollon. During the orbital bombardment, Kanan does make his way back to the base. Sort of, after getting Zeb and Rex and running into the tunnels. Stormtroopers now after him. There's a great sequence here, actually. I should, before we get to that, where Rex and Zeb are going to attempt to slow down the egress of the Imperial forces. They blow up some chicken walkers with some landmines. Zeb's got a bazooka. It doesn't go so well when they try this against the AT-ATs, or the AT-ATs, as some might call them. And again, this shield generator, much like the one that the Gungans had, you are able to walk through it. If you go slow enough, you can walk through it, just like the Stormtroopers do, just like the AT-AT does. So that puts Zeb and Rex on the run, which is when they find Kanan and they head into the tunnels to head back to Atollon Base. Thrawn and the ground troopers are in full pursuit mode. Again, it's great action sequence, good stuff. We get back to Atollon Base. And Thrawn believes he has the upper hand. Let's just kind of fast forward a little bit through this chase process. Again, our heroes are sort of reunited at Adelon, but it's short-lived as the Imperial forces come in and surround them, and Thrawn demands the surrender of these rebels. And Harris knows, you're not getting a surrender to me. And that's when the storm comes in, and Thrawn makes a reference to Kanan's gazing up at the skies, the storm that nears them, and says, "Oh, do you fear the storm, Jedi?" And that's when we realize it's no storm, my friends. It is the Bendu doing Bendu-y things with the power of the Force at his command. He's created a lightning storm that will destroy the rebels and the Empire. And eventually they take cover. It's the opportunity they're looking for to break out. So all the rebels who are still at the base get back in their ships and take back off for orbit. This is when we get a vital message that Ezra is en route with the Mandalorians to destroy the interdictor and break the blockade so that everyone can make their escape. There is a lot of really great action in these sequences coming up. I especially enjoy what happens once Ezra and the Mandalorians arrive. It's really great space combat with the Mandalorians rocketing around in the vacuum of space, the cold vacuum of space, against stormtroopers doing the same thing. It's a really great sequence. It's fun. It's the sort of action sequence I'd like to see more of in live action if we can make it happen. Really killer sequences there. Ezra wearing an Old Republic spacesuit, surrounded by the Mandalorians, lightsaber engaged on the deck of this interdictor cruiser, and TIE fighters swirling around trying to blow them all up. It's a really fun sequence. I really dig it. You got Fen Rao providing cover with the Mandalorian fighters around them, blowing up TIE fighters. And Price doesn't know what to do. Price is making poor tactical decisions. And this is when our good friend Agent Kallus realizes that there is an opportunity to poke the bear. And by poking the bear, that might allow him to make a move. And so he taunts the governor. He taunts Governor Price. And she's like, "Oh, you throw this traitor out the airlock." So these two stormtroopers take Agent Kallus into an elevator. And as the door closes, we see a smirk cross Kallus's face. And the next time that elevator door opens, there are two unconscious stormtroopers, and Kallus is dropping the cuffs off of his wrist because he just beat the crap out of them in the elevator. That would have been a fun fight to see. We're fans of elevator fights in this podcast, but we don't get to see that. So Kallus is going to make his escape, and he's going to time it just right, because as this interdictor cruiser is destroyed, our rebel fleet from the surface takes off and is heading towards the blockade. We cut back to Adelon. Thrawn and his stormtroopers have sort of figured out that if you aim for the guy with the eyeballs in the sky, you can stop this storm that's destroying all your ships and all your forces. So they are able to send the Bendu crashing back down to the surface. And they go out to investigate to see what this being is who had such power that it could create a storm to destroy so many rebel and imperial ships and materials. And the Bendu looks Thrawn in the eyes and says, "I see your failure coming. You're going to lose. The many arms of the void will embrace you," blah, blah, blah. Something along those lines. It's a great sequence with the Bendu. Tom Baker bringing the thunder with his voice. And Lars Mikkelsen doing the same thing as Thrawn, because this sort of angers him. This idea that he could possibly lose to the rebels. It upsets him. It angers him. It's not what he wants to hear at all. So he goes to kill the Bendu. Except the Bendu, not so fast, my friends, disappears into the Force, becomes one with the Force, I would imagine. No longer a being of this crude material is he any longer. He becomes one with the Force before Thrawn can kill him. And so the Bendu is still out there. And now Thrawn has the knowledge that this creature of the Force has seen him lose, has seen him defeated. And I think that rattles Thrawn to a certain extent. Meanwhile, Governor Price continues to make poor tactical decisions in space. The interdictor cruiser has been destroyed, and our rebel heroes are able to jump to hyperspace. But not before Kallus launches himself out of an escape pod, sends the signal to the Ghost, leaves some coordinates. He identifies himself as Fulcrum, and they scoop him up and take him home, and they hyperspace out of there. It's a great sequence. It's good stuff. Again, the aid of the Mandalorians, Sabine back with her family, her adopted family. Now we have Kallus in the fold as well. And I like the moment between Callus and Kanan where Callus thanks him for coming to pick him up. And Kanan, again, after all they've been through over those first 2 seasons when Callus hunted him mercilessly, Kanan puts a hand on his shoulder and says, thank you for risking everything for us, for this. It's a nice moment to sort of close out our season. But not before, Kanan and Ezra get to have a nice little moment for themselves and talk about how there is a future for them full of freedom, but they have to fight for it and they have to make it happen. And that's sort of the high note where we end our show. We also overhear, as Kanan walks his way through the Ghost, that they're on the holocom with Sabine's mother, and Sabine wants to return the favor that the Mandalorians did for the Rebels by having the Rebels help the Mandalorians. So we're teasing how we're going to open Season 4 right there. Hera says that she can't go because she's got to get the Rebel leadership back to Yavin. That's why they're making multiple hyperspace jumps to cover their tracks to make sure they can't be followed. But again, that's the tease. That's our setup for how we are going to open Season 4. A big Mandalorian conflict before we shift back to the Empire and the battle for Lothal. I love the season finale. I think it's fantastic. I really enjoyed a lot of elements of it. The space combat is always excellent. The musical elements of this, as we sort of slowly incorporate more and more of the traditional Star Wars themes, musically speaking, fantastic. Kevin Kiner and his team, just a fantastic, great job as always. And of course, we sort of wrap things up with the Bendu, right? The Bendu and Atollon, all these things come to a close in the season finale, and Thrawn, I think it's a little bit of doubt creeping in his heart. But Thrawn's got big plans for next season, so don't worry about that. But we have wrapped up a stellar season of Star Wars Rebels, the best one yet. This show continues to build and build and build until we reach this epic fourth and final season of Star Wars Rebels. So 9 buckets for this episode. It's really fantastic. It foreshadows very, very nicely. And it puts several characters on a new trajectory. Callus is out of the Empire. He's now with the Rebellion, being like one of the more key ones. But we also set up, again, that conflict with the Mandalorians, something that's been, foreshadowed, talked about for many, many years. And we're going to get to see a part of the Mandalorian Civil War here. So very excited for what's coming up in the future. And I think that's going to be how we kind of start our new year off in 2026. So, again, 9 buckets for this one. It wraps up a great season of Star Wars Star Wars Rebels. Pardon me. And I think obviously the highlight of the season has to be Twin Suns, because I think it's just cinema. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's just so well executed and so well thought out. But the season overall has got a lot of highs in it, more highs than lows by a big stretch. And I mean, you guys know I'm kind of an easy mark. I love so much of these shows, even the episodes that are quote unquote filler, throwaway episodes that are skippable. No. I love the show. I love these episodes. And if you're not rewatching Rebels with me, you're missing out, because it's like 23 minutes of great Star Wars. And you can just watch it. It's very digestible. It's on the Disney Plus. Check it out. Come along on the journey with me as we rewatch Rebels and get ready for Season 4, the final season of Star Wars Rebels. All right, Bucketheads, that being said, I think we're going to wrap this puppy up, and I think we're going to wrap up 2025. There may be a bonus episode in the future. I don't want to say that there won't be. If there's any new Star Wars news, anything big happening, a new Mandalorian Grogu trailer, there'll be another bonus show. But in case there isn't, again, I hope everyone has had a wonderful, safe, and happy holiday season. I hope you have a wonderful, happy, and safe New Year's. 2026, the podcast will be here with you for the duration. So stay tuned. Buckethead Nation, you continue to amaze me by being the best supporters on the entire interwebs. And I'm so glad you've stuck with me for as long as you have. Again, we'll be back in 2026. Go out there, be great Star Wars fans, kind, supportive, respectful, understanding, tolerant, and just gosh darn good people, like I know you are. All right? Remember, this podcast, it can only end one way, my friends. This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
You expect me to search the galaxy for the home of this creature and deliver it to a race of enemy sorcerers?
This is the way.
I find that answer vague and unconvincing.
Just did the castle run in 12 parsecs. Not if you round down, buddy. Yeah.
Admiral, we have enemy ships in Sector 47.
It's a trap!